not necessarily a suburban sound, but lyrically, there's plenty of that sort of quirkiness about it, I think.
Yeah, I think one of my biggest things is that the people that influence you, you know, that maybe don't get a lot of mention in your lyrics, but they, you know, impacted you in different ways. And if you're going to find any place on earth that you're going to find the weirdest experiences known to mankind, they're in suburbs of large cities. I mean, no stranger stuff goes on than it does in suburbs. I'm not sure about here in Halifax, but in Vancouver, definitely that's how it works.
We're doing for the song, we're doing kind of a takeoff on a whole bunch of different billboard ads. And so we're doing kind of there'll be like an Obsession ad with a line of the song in it, and Obsession Girls type thing. And then your Benetton takeoff and your car ad takeoff and that kind of thing.
Are we holding these up to ridicule?
I don't know. It's for the song Everything is Automatic. And the song's kind of about the plasticity of things. So we're kind of doing that, and then we're also doing a kind of live band performance that takes us from an everyday normal looking band to kind of a U2 or beyond U2 decked out kind of version.
A lot of the awards you won for Chart Magazine were nominated by the fans.
That's cool. Yeah. I think that's great, actually.
That makes it more special.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I think, you know, when this business is so strange, you know, you deal with it every day, I'm sure, and it's the ins and outs of it. There's so many tastemakers out there and people and critics, and everyone's got an opinion or a voice, and it seems almost when you're planning things or when you're going through the creation process of making an album, you have all these voices talking to you. But it's the people that ultimately decide whether what you do is good or not, or whether they like it or not. You know, it's an entirely subjective thing. And so I always find it strange when you're up for awards, like, say, you know, a Juno or something, which I think the Junos are great. I mean, don't get me wrong, it's a Canadian award, and it's a good thing that we have them. But for me, in some respects, it's really strange because you throw all these people in a room, and it's like taking a whole bunch of painters and saying, well, who's the better painter?
Marking it.
Yeah, who's the better artist? How does that exactly work? To me, that makes absolutely no sense. It's a very strange thing, I think, being a songwriter, because there's two sides to it. Do you want to sell a lot of records, or do you just want to be the kind of band that 20 years from now kids go out and try to, like, maybe you only sell 20,000 records, but kids actively seek out your record because they're like, I would really love to, you know, as an influence. I mean,
like a Pixies.
For me, the Pixies were a really strange band in that respect because I thought they were an excellent group. I was listening to them this day religiously, and they never. I mean, they had success to a certain level, but never the kind of success that when I listened to them as a band that I thought, who in the world wouldn't buy that album, you know, or, you know, that kind of thing. And it was kind of strange, and you know, of course now they're gone.
The janitor returns from the Apparitions video.
Yes.
Does that mean that there's an ongoing?
Well, yeah. That video, strangely enough, like Apparitions, was a completely different concept to begin with, and it ended up as something else. It was funny because when we got a lot of heat from everyone just going, you know, well, in the Apparitions video, everyone just doesn't, I don't think, realize that you guys are the band. Maybe they just think you're actors or something. And I actually have gotten that a couple times. You're the guy in the Matthew Good Band video, aren't you? You know, and it'll be like, I know, it's funny as hell. I've actually got also, you're that guy in that Dave Matthews Band video, which is even better. And
or Matthew Sweet.
Or Matthew Sweet, one of the 900. But it was strange because when me and Bill finally did it at the end, it was like, well, why don't we make this later on that night? You know, so what's
happening in the Rico video?
So he, you know, we end up doing that whole thing, and Carolina, who played the call girl in the Apparitions video, she comes in halfway through the video and that kind of thing. But it was, my original idea was scrap. I wanted to rob a bank with the band wearing Star Wars masks.
As far as a record is concerned, I think that, you know, all the guys have a much larger attachment to this album than anything we've done in the past. I mean, obviously that's going to be a view of a band after finishing an album, but I think, I've said it before, and you know, while we're making the record, I think it might turn out to be one of the more quintessential records in our careers, so. You know.
Certain elements of atmosphericness going on there.
Yeah, I mean, one thing we talked about after we did Underdogs, and especially the other records like Lots of the Ghetto Astronauts and Ray Gun, was space, and then we wanted to exploit it a lot more, and so I think that's what we did.
For Best Rock Video, Matthew Good Band for Load Me Up, William Morrison, director.
It would be much nicer if it was for Best Death Metal Video, but
What's for best rock?
Rock will do. We won and lost all at the same time.
You won and lost all at the same time. One video won, one video lost. You're 1 for 1, 10 more to go. You think you're going to get them?
We're going to count it, you know.
I think everything is reflective in a way of your surroundings, right? Obviously, you're right, you know, and things get intermingled with, you know, your perception and other people's perception and maybe the way it really is and that kind of thing. I've always, I don't know, man. I'm just not a fan of happy. I'm not, you know. I mean, things like that, as far as making albums go, they come and go kind of thing, you know what I mean? It's like how many love songs can be written, you know? But, I don't know. People I always find, if you're trying to say something to them or trying to reach them on any kind of level, I mean, because as far as being literal is concerned, people are always going to apply it to themselves. They're not going to take, you know, try to figure out exactly what I meant by anything. So they're going to apply it to themselves. And if they can do that, then, you know, my job's done. So, you know, and people always kind of, I'm not going to say that I do it on purpose, mired in misery or anything like that, but I don't know, when I sit down to write, that's just the way it comes across.
That's basically it, man. I was asked my opinion and I gave it. And you know, it wasn't, there was no malicious intent given. I mean, everybody knows that I don't really mince my words and never have. And, you know, I don't really, it wasn't an attack on anybody's character as a human being or anything. I just was asked about a band and I gave my opinion, as anyone would give their opinion about any other band. I think that it is rather unconscionable if I'm just because I'm in this industry that I'm not allowed to have an opinion. What the hell's with that?
So it was a little bit overrated.
Yeah, it was a little blown out of proportion.